Have you ever felt the weight of embarrassment and shame radiating from those who once wronged you? The averted gazes, the stammered apologies, the palpable discomfort in your presence, these are signs of deeper emotional and psychological turmoil. If you've ever wondered why they can't seem to face you, why your mere existence seems to unsettle them, then this discussion is for you. Today, we're diving deep into the 7 reasons why those who mistreated you are now drowning in shame and embarrassment. We'll uncover the psychological and emotional layers behind their reactions, empowering you with the understanding that their behavior is a testament to your strength and resilience. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and healing as we explore how your light exposes the shadows they've tried to hide. By the end of this discussion, you'll see their shame not as a burden but as a powerful affirmation of your own growth and transformation. Are you ready? Let's get started. 1. Impact on their relationships. Let's talk about something that often sits at the core of our personal experiences: the impact of our actions on our relationships. When we dive into the nuances of how one person's behavior can ripple through their social network, it becomes clear that this isn't just about the immediate effects, it's about the long-term consequences that can reshape entire communities of people. Picture this: someone you know makes a choice that betrays your trust. At that moment, the immediate pain is undeniable. But what happens next? How do their actions extend beyond just you and them, impacting everyone around them? When we reflect on the consequences of hurtful actions, it's essential to understand that the ramifications go far beyond the person who was directly wronged. The individual who caused harm often finds themselves facing an unexpected fallout, a loss of trust not just from you, but from others who are connected to the situation. This can be incredibly isolating. Imagine someone who once thrived in a supportive community now finding themselves on the outskirts, with colleagues, friends, and even family members keeping their distance. Why does this happen? It happens because relationships are built on trust, and when that trust is broken, it doesn't just affect the relationship with the person who was directly wronged. Others begin to question the integrity and reliability of the person who caused harm. In professional settings, this can lead to a loss of opportunities and collaboration. In personal relationships, it might mean fewer invitations, less warmth, and an overall sense of disconnection. It's not just about the loss of a single relationship, it's about the slow erosion of a support network that the individual may not have even realized they were relying on. Consider how painful this realization can be for the person who caused the harm. Initially, they might not have fully grasped the scope of their actions. They might have thought that the issue was between you and them. But as time goes on, and as they begin to notice the changes in how others interact with them, the full weight of their actions becomes clear. Each strained conversation, each sidelong glance, is a reminder of the impact they've had, not just on you, but on their entire social circle. The shame that comes with this realization is often profound. It's a shame that's rooted not just in regret for the initial action, but in the understanding that their behavior has fundamentally altered the way others see them. This can be a harsh lesson, but it's also a crucial one. It's a moment of reckoning, where they must come to terms with the fact that their actions have created ripples that extend far beyond the initial hurt. For those who are on the receiving end of this behavior, it's important to recognize that the impact on the other person's relationships is not your responsibility. You didn't cause this chain reaction, they did. Your role in this situation is to maintain your own boundaries and to protect your own well-being. It can be tempting to feel guilty or responsible for the wider consequences of their actions, but it's essential to remember that this is a result of their choices, not yours. As we continue to examine this dynamic, it's important to consider the possibility of change. The isolation and shame that come from damaged relationships can be a powerful motivator for someone to reflect and grow. When a person sees how their actions have not only hurt you but have also led to a breakdown in their own support system, they may be inspired to make amends. This isn't always the case, of course, but the potential for growth and redemption is there. However, the path to rebuilding those relationships is not an easy one. It requires humility, genuine remorse, and a willingness to put in the hard work of rebuilding trust. For the person who caused harm, this might mean reaching out to those they've hurt, admitting their mistakes, and making a concerted effort to change their behavior. It's a long process, and there are no guarantees that they will be successful. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to repair. For you, the person who was wronged, it's essential to navigate this process with care. You may choose to forgive, or you may decide that the relationship is beyond repair. Either choice is valid. What matters most is that you make the decision that is right for you, based on your own needs and well-being. The impact on their relationships is, ultimately, their journey to navigate. 2. Realization of wrongdoing. Have you ever been in a situation where someone who wronged you suddenly comes to the stark realization of their misdeeds? It's a powerful, almost palpable moment when they confront the gravity of what they've done. Realization of wrongdoing, it's not just a casual acknowledgement but a profound awakening that often leaves the wrongdoer shaken to their core. It's the instant when denial dissolves, and they are left face to face with the undeniable truth of their actions. This is not just an intellectual recognition, it's a deeply emotional upheaval, one that strips away the illusions they've held about themselves. Consider a time when you've been hurt by someone, a colleague who spread damaging lies about you, a family member who betrayed your deepest trust, or a friend who let you down at a critical moment. Picture yourself in the same room with this person now, their demeanor noticeably different. They avoid your eyes, their voice wavers, and there's a heaviness in the air that wasn't there before. What you're observing is more than just awkwardness, it's a profound internal struggle. This is the moment when they begin to truly grasp the consequences of their actions, when the full weight of their wrongdoing crashes down on them, disrupting the narrative they've told themselves. This moment of realization often marks the beginning of a challenging journey for the wrongdoer. Up until this point, they may have lived comfortably in a web of justifications and excuses, convincing themselves that their actions were justified, or at least not that harmful. But now, those comforting lies are starting to unravel. The truth, once suppressed, begins to surface, and it's not a gentle awakening, it's a jarring, sometimes painful, confrontation with the reality of their behavior. This realization is often accompanied by a deep sense of shame, a heavy burden that stems not just from the fear of external judgment but from an internal reckoning. Shame, in this context, is more than a fleeting emotion, it's a signal that something is fundamentally wrong within. It's the mind and heart's way of reconciling the disparity between their actions and their values. For perhaps the first time, they are forced to confront the pain they've caused, the trust they've shattered, and the hurt they've inflicted. This moment is not just uncomfortable, it's deeply disorienting. They are no longer the person they thought they were, and this realization can shake the very foundation of their identity. In these moments, your presence becomes incredibly significant. You are no longer just the person who was wronged, you become a living reminder of the consequences of their actions. Your strength, your ability to stand firm despite what they did, reflects back at them like a mirror, showing them a truth they can no longer ignore. This isn't about seeking vengeance or retribution, it's about the undeniable reality that their actions have consequences, both in your life and within themselves. When they can't bring themselves to look you in the eye, it's because they are grappling with this truth, struggling to align their self-perception with their actual behavior. For some, this realization can ignite a deep sense of remorse. They may be compelled to seek forgiveness, to try and make amends, to restore what they've broken. For others, the shame may be so overwhelming that they retreat further into denial, desperately clinging to whatever fragments of their previous self-image remain. But regardless of how they choose to respond, this moment of realization is crucial. It's the turning point where they can no longer escape the reality of their actions. Understanding this dynamic places you in a position of quiet strength. You are not just a passive recipient of their wrongdoings, you are an essential part of their journey towards realization. Your resilience, your unwavering sense of self in the face of their behavior, forces them to confront the reality of what they've done. This isn't about deriving satisfaction from their discomfort, but about recognizing the power you hold simply by being true to yourself and standing firm in your integrity. As this realization unfolds, it's important to remember that it is just the beginning of a potentially long and difficult path. The shame they feel now, this profound discomfort, is a necessary part of the process of accountability and, possibly, personal growth. It's a sign that they are beginning to see the truth, that the walls of self-deception are starting to crack. How they proceed from this point is their choice, but the realization of wrongdoing is a critical first step in any journey towards redemption. This understanding allows you to redefine your narrative. You are no longer merely the victim of their actions, defined by the harm they caused. Instead, you are a figure of strength and integrity, a person who, through your very presence, compels others to confront the truth. Their shame is not a reflection of your weakness but of your strength. It's a testament to the fact that, despite their efforts to diminish you, you have remained true to yourself, holding onto your values and principles. In recognizing this, you can begin to see their realization of wrongdoing as a transformative moment, not just for them, but for you as well. It's a moment where you reclaim your power, where you see that their shame is not something you are responsible for, but something they must contend with on their own. You have endured their actions, yes, but in doing so, you have emerged stronger, more resilient, and more aware of your own worth. As we explore the reasons behind their shame in greater detail, keep this foundational truth in mind: their realization of wrongdoing is the cornerstone upon which all other emotions and reactions are built. It is the core of their discomfort, the source of their inability to face you. And in understanding this, you also gain a deeper understanding of your own power. You realize that it is your presence, your steadfastness, that has brought them to this moment of reckoning. 3. Emotional discomfort. Let's take a moment to really explore the concept of emotional discomfort, not just as a fleeting sensation but as a profound experience that shakes the very core of our emotional landscape. Imagine this not as something you're reading, but as a conversation between us, like we're sitting down together, unpacking the intricacies of this complex feeling. Emotional discomfort isn't just a passing unease, it's that deep-seated, almost visceral response that emerges when someone is confronted with the ripple effects of their own behavior. Picture a scenario where a person who once disregarded your aspirations now stumbles awkwardly through a conversation when you share your latest triumph. Or consider the friend who trivialized your emotions, now squirming uncomfortably as you speak openly about your vulnerability. These are the instances where emotional discomfort manifests physically, a palpable tension that's hard to miss. This type of discomfort is deeply tied to something psychologists call cognitive dissonance, a mental struggle that happens when there's a clash between how someone sees themselves and the reality of their actions. They might have a certain image of who they believe they are, but when confronted with the truth of how they've behaved, a gap forms between those two perceptions. It's in this gap that emotional discomfort thrives, creating an inner discord that's both unsettling and persistent. This internal struggle often becomes more intense in your presence, as you serve as a living reminder of the consequences of their actions, a mirror reflecting the emotional turmoil they prefer to ignore. When people experience this kind of discomfort, you'll notice a variety of responses, most of which are attempts to manage or deflect the uncomfortable feelings. Some might try to shift the focus away from their feelings, perhaps by changing the topic, making a lighthearted comment, or even reacting with irritation. These behaviors are often defense mechanisms, ways to push away the discomfort that's brewing inside. But if you look beyond these surface reactions, what you'll often find is a deep-seated sense of guilt or shame. This shame is not just about the harm they've caused you, but also about the realization that their actions have betrayed their own values, creating a rift within themselves that's hard to reconcile. Now, let's delve a bit deeper into this. Emotional discomfort is more than just a momentary feeling, it's a signal from their conscience, a sign that their inner moral compass is being triggered. It's as if their mind is waving a red flag, urging them to stop and consider the full impact of what they've done. This discomfort can sometimes serve as a catalyst for growth, pushing them toward introspection and potentially leading them to make amends. But growth isn't always a given. In many cases, people resist this discomfort because confronting it requires them to face uncomfortable truths about themselves, truths they might not be ready or willing to acknowledge. As you find yourself in these situations, it's crucial to remember that their emotional discomfort isn't about you, it's a reflection of their own inner conflict. It's easy to internalize their discomfort, to think that you've done something wrong or that you're somehow responsible for their unease. But in reality, you're merely the catalyst in a process that's deeply personal for them. Your presence highlights their own emotional discord, but it's important to keep in mind that their journey through this discomfort is theirs alone. You're there as a reminder of the emotional honesty they're grappling with, but you're not responsible for resolving their internal turmoil. In navigating these emotionally charged encounters, it's essential to maintain your own emotional stability. It's easy to get caught up in their discomfort, to feel empathy for their struggle, or to feel compelled to ease their pain. But your role isn't to take on their emotional burden, it's to remain grounded in your own sense of self, setting clear boundaries that allow you to interact with compassion without losing your own emotional balance. This means being there with a listening ear or a supportive word, but also knowing when to step back and let them wrestle with their own emotions. It's worth noting that this type of emotional discomfort can be incredibly challenging for both parties involved. For them, it's a painful reminder of where they've fallen short, a confrontation with aspects of themselves they'd rather not face. For you, it can be difficult to witness their struggle, especially if their discomfort leads to defensive or even hostile behavior. But understanding the roots of this discomfort can help you approach these situations with empathy and patience, recognizing that their reactions are often more about their own internal struggle than about anything you've done. It's something we all encounter at various points in our lives, and it's often through these moments of discomfort that we grow and learn the most about ourselves. This discomfort forces us to look in the mirror and confront the parts of ourselves that we might prefer to keep hidden. It's a painful but necessary process of self-discovery, one that can lead to greater self-awareness and ultimately, personal growth. Your role isn't just to be a passive observer. By maintaining your own emotional clarity and showing empathy, you can create a space where they feel safe to confront their discomfort. This doesn't mean you have to agree with their actions or excuse their behavior. Rather, it's about holding a space for them to explore their feelings without adding to their burden. It's a delicate balance, one that requires both strength and compassion. By doing so, you not only protect your own emotional well-being but also encourage them to take responsibility for their emotions and their actions. This one, though difficult, is an important part of the emotional landscape. It's a signpost on the road to self-improvement, a signal that something within us needs attention. It's through these moments of discomfort that we are pushed to grow, to evolve, and to become more aligned with our true selves. So, as you navigate these interactions, remember that while their emotional discomfort is a challenge, it's also an opportunity for them to confront their own truths and for you to stand firm in your own emotional integrity. 4. Truth. When we talk about the loss of respect, we're diving into one of the most profound and unsettling experiences someone can go through. This isn't just about a temporary feeling or a momentary lapse, it's about a deep, often painful recognition that something fundamental has shifted. Imagine you're standing before someone who once held a significant place in your life, a colleague, a friend, a loved one, and you can see it in their eyes. That look, that hesitation, that distance that wasn't there before. It's like a mirror reflecting back to you the consequences of your actions, and it's a hard reflection to face. Respect is one of those things we often take for granted until it's gone. We move through our days assuming that the people around us will continue to see us in the same light, that our words and actions will be received with the same warmth and trust they always have. But what happens when that changes? When a moment of weakness, a poor decision, or a breach of trust takes that respect and shatters it. The reality hits hard. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how you start to see yourself. The loss of respect doesn't just tarnish your image in the eyes of others, it chips away at your own self-image, leaving you with a sense of loss that can be deeply destabilizing. Think about a time when you've disappointed someone. Not just a minor letdown, but a real, gut-wrenching disappointment where you knew you had crossed a line. Maybe it was a colleague whose work you undermined, or a friend whose trust you betrayed. That shift in the dynamic is palpable. Where there was once ease and openness, there's now tension and discomfort. You feel it in every interaction, every conversation. The unspoken weight of that lost respect hangs between you like a heavy fog, making each exchange a little more difficult, a little more strained. But perhaps the hardest part is what happens internally. When you lose respect for yourself, it's like the ground beneath you starts to crumble. You begin to question who you are, what you stand for, and whether you're even worthy of the respect you once had. This internal struggle can be relentless. It's not just about regret or guilt, it's about a fundamental shift in how you view yourself. You start to see the gap between the person you thought you were and the person your actions have revealed you to be. And that gap can be incredibly difficult to bridge. Now, imagine facing the person you've wronged. Each time you see them, each time you hear their voice or catch their eye, it's a reminder of what you've lost. Their presence becomes a trigger, a constant nudge reminding you of the respect that's no longer there. And it's not just their respect that's gone, it's the respect of others around you, too. People talk. They notice. And soon, you're not just dealing with the loss of respect from one person, but from an entire circle, an entire community. But here's the thing, regaining that respect isn't about quick fixes or empty apologies. It's about doing the hard work of rebuilding, of proving to yourself and to others that you are capable of change. And that's not an easy path. It requires humility, patience, and a willingness to confront some uncomfortable truths about yourself. It's about showing up, day after day, and making choices that reflect the kind of person you want to be, not the person you might have been in that moment of weakness. It's important to understand that the journey to regaining respect starts within. Before you can earn back the respect of others, you have to start with yourself. You have to confront the parts of you that led to this loss, the decisions and behaviors that caused harm, and commit to doing better. This isn't about self-punishment, it's about self-awareness and growth. It's about acknowledging where you went wrong and finding the strength to make amends, not just in words, but in actions. As for those who've been wronged, it's crucial to remember that you don't owe them forgiveness, nor do you need to expedite their journey to self-redemption. Your role isn't to repair the bridges they've burned, but to maintain your own integrity and boundaries. This can be one of the hardest aspects to navigate, balancing compassion with the need to protect your own well-being. While you might feel empathy for their struggle, you are not responsible for their healing. They have to walk that path themselves, learning the lessons they need to from the experience. Standing in your truth and maintaining your integrity is your power in this situation. It's a quiet strength, a reminder to others of the standards you hold and the respect you expect. And while it's natural to feel a sense of loss when respect is damaged, it's also a time to reaffirm your own values and boundaries. By doing so, you not only protect yourself but also set an example for others about the importance of respect in all relationships. In conclusion, the loss of respect is a complex, painful experience that can shake the very foundation of who we are. But within that pain lies an opportunity for growth, for self-reflection, and for a renewed commitment to living with integrity. It's a journey that requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. But for those who are willing to do the work, it can lead to a deeper understanding of themselves and a stronger, more resilient sense of self-worth. And that, in the end, is where true respect begins, within ourselves. 5. Confrontation with their own insecurities. Imagine sitting with me in a quiet room, where the walls themselves seem to breathe with the weight of shared stories. There's a soft light filtering through the windows, casting a gentle glow on the space where we're having this important conversation. Today, we're not just going to talk about the actions of others, but delve deeper into the hearts and minds of those who have wronged you. And as we do, I invite you to open yourself to a profound truth. Their actions weren't just about you, they were, in many ways, a reflection of their own internal struggles. You see, every time someone lashes out, belittles, or undermines another, it's often because they're wrestling with something within themselves. Maybe it's a fear of inadequacy, a gnawing feeling that they'll never measure up. Or perhaps it's jealousy, that green-eyed monster that whispers, "Why them and not you?" These insecurities can be so powerful, so overwhelming, that they drive people to act in ways that hurt others, sometimes without them even fully realizing it. Now, imagine that person, the one who caused you pain. Picture them in a quiet moment, perhaps lying awake at night or staring into a mirror, forced to confront the truth of their actions. They're no longer able to hide behind excuses or rationalizations. The mask has slipped, and what's left is a raw, unfiltered look at their own insecurities. This moment of confrontation is not just about guilt, it's about a deep, uncomfortable recognition of the flaws and fears that drove their behavior. In your presence, they might feel exposed, as if you hold a mirror up to them that reflects back all the things they've tried so hard to bury. It's not just your strength or resilience that unsettles them, it's the stark contrast between their actions and their underlying motivations. Each time they see you, they're reminded of the fear, the jealousy, or the insecurity that they've tried to deny for so long. And that reminder can be a heavy burden to carry. But this confrontation with their own insecurities isn't just a source of shame, it's also a potential catalyst for change. When someone is forced to face their deepest fears and flaws, they're given an opportunity, however painful, to grow. It's a chance to dig deep, to understand the roots of their behavior, and to start the slow, often difficult process of becoming a better person. This journey isn't easy, and it's certainly not quick. It requires humility, honesty, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. But it's a journey worth taking. As they go through this process, your role is not to fix them or to carry their shame. Instead, your role is to continue living with integrity, strength, and self-respect. By doing so, you not only honor your own journey but also set a powerful example of what it means to live authentically. Their confrontation with their insecurities is their own battle, and while you may be a catalyst, you are not responsible for the outcome. It's important to remember that their shame, their discomfort, and their process of self-reflection are not about you. They are about them, about their own need to grow, to heal, and to become the person they perhaps wish they had been all along. As you navigate your own healing process, it's crucial to recognize that their journey is separate from yours, even if your paths have crossed in painful ways. In these moments, hold on to the understanding that you are not defined by their actions or their insecurities. Instead, you are defined by your response to them, by your ability to stand strong in the face of adversity, to maintain your dignity, and to keep moving forward with compassion for yourself. This is your strength, the ability to rise above the pettiness, the insecurity, and the hurt, and to emerge on the other side with a clearer sense of who you are and what you deserve. Their shame is, in many ways, a silent acknowledgement of your power. It's a recognition, whether spoken or unspoken, that you have had an impact on them, a deep, perhaps unsettling impact that forces them to look at themselves in a way they never have before. This impact is not about revenge or retribution, it's about truth. It's about holding up a mirror not just to them, but to the world, and saying, "This is who I am. This is what I deserve." As you continue on your path, let this understanding ground you. Let it be a source of quiet strength and confidence. You don't need to seek validation from them, nor do you need to carry their shame. Instead, allow yourself to be the person you know you are, a person of integrity, compassion, and resilience. This is your power, your gift, and your truth. And as for them, let them deal with their own insecurities. Let them sit with their discomfort, their shame, and their fear. This is their journey, their lesson to learn. In time, they may grow, they may change. But whether they do or not is not your concern. Your concern is you, your growth, your healing, and your journey toward a life that reflects the strength, wisdom, and compassion you carry within you. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought: the confrontation with one's own insecurities is one of the most challenging experiences a person can face. But it's also one of the most transformative. For those who wronged you, this confrontation is an opportunity for growth, if they choose to take it. For you, it's a reminder of your strength and the power you have to shape your own destiny, no matter what others may do. So, as you move forward, carry this truth with you. Let it be a beacon of light in the darkest of times, a reminder that you are stronger than you know, and that no one's actions can diminish the light that shines within you. 6. Fear of judgment is the beginning of wisdom. This ancient proverb speaks volumes about the human condition, reminding us that the fear of being judged often drives us to reflect on our actions and, in many cases, seek a path of righteousness. As a psychologist, I understand that this fear is deeply rooted in our social nature. It's a fear that can shape behavior, influence decisions, and often lead individuals down a path of avoidance or redemption, depending on how they choose to respond to it. Now, imagine being the person who has wronged someone else. That initial realization of wrongdoing is painful enough, but it's the fear of being judged by others that can truly haunt them. This isn't just the fear of being seen as flawed by you, the one they've wronged, but by everyone around them. The mere thought that others might view them differently, judge them harshly, or forever associate them with their worst actions can be paralyzing. This fear is a powerful force, often causing people to withdraw, avoid eye contact, or even distance themselves from social circles where they might face judgment. It has the power to lead someone down a path of avoidance, where they spend their days running from the truth, or it can serve as the impetus for growth, for transformation, for redemption. The decision lies with them, but the presence of this fear suggests that they understand the gravity of their actions. And from my perspective as a psychologist, I believe that understanding and confronting this fear is the first and most crucial step toward healing, both for them and for you. It's about recognizing that while judgment from others may be inevitable, it is through facing this fear that true personal growth and meaningful transformation can take place. In social settings, this fear becomes even more pronounced. Picture the friend who once betrayed your trust, now avoiding gatherings where your paths might cross. They aren't just avoiding you, they're avoiding the judgment of everyone who might know of their betrayal. It's not just about facing you, but about facing the whispers, the knowing glances, the silent judgment of those who once held them in high regard. This fear drives their behavior, causing them to pull back, to hide, to attempt to escape the weight of their own actions. What's fascinating here is that this fear isn't just about external judgment. It's deeply internalized. The person who has wronged you begins to see themselves through the eyes of others. They anticipate the judgment, the labels, the assumptions that will be made about them. This fear of judgment is, in many ways, a social death sentence, a fear that they will be forever defined by their worst moment. It's a fear that makes them dread every interaction, every conversation, every encounter where their past might be brought to light. Your presence in their life now serves as a constant reminder of the consequences of their actions. It's not just about what happened in the past, it's about the ongoing, ever-present ramifications of their behavior. Every time they see you, they are reminded of their misdeeds, of the pain they caused, and of the judgment that might follow them. This fear is compounded by the knowledge that you have moved forward, that you have found strength, resilience, and perhaps even a sense of peace. Your strength shines a light on their shortcomings, making their own weaknesses and wrongdoings even more apparent. This fear of judgment is a powerful motivator. It's what drives people to avoid uncomfortable conversations, to steer clear of interactions that might bring their past actions to the forefront. It's a fear that leads to avoidance, to distancing, to a self-imposed exile from situations where they might be judged. But it's important to remember that this fear isn't about you. It's about them. It's about their internal struggle, their recognition of their own faults, and their deep-seated fear of being judged by society. At the heart of this fear is a recognition of wrongdoing. They know, on some level, that they've fallen short, that they've acted in ways that go against societal norms, moral standards, or personal values. This recognition brings with it a profound sense of shame, and with shame comes the fear of judgment. It's a fear that they might never be able to escape the shadow of their actions, that they will be forever seen through the lens of their mistakes. As you navigate your interactions with them, it's crucial to understand this fear of judgment for what it is, a powerful reminder of the consequences of actions. It's not about holding power over them, it's about recognizing that their fear is a natural response to the truth and accountability that they now face. Their fear is, in many ways, a testament to the power of truth. When faced with the reality of their actions, this fear becomes unavoidable. It's the discomfort of facing oneself in the mirror and realizing that the person staring back is not who they want to be. 7. Exposure of true motives. Picture this: you're in a conversation with someone, perhaps a colleague or a friend. Suddenly, their carefully constructed image starts to crack, and what lies beneath begins to show. It's not just their words that betray them, but the very intent behind their actions. The unveiling of their genuine motives is a moment of piercing clarity. It's like pulling back the curtain on a stage, revealing the mechanics and intentions hidden from view. What was once concealed is now glaringly obvious. You understand, perhaps for the first time, the real reasons behind their behavior, and it's not what they wanted you to believe. People often hide their true intentions behind elaborate justifications or false narratives. They might portray themselves as misunderstood or even wronged. But when the facade falls, and the truth is exposed, it's as if the room is suddenly filled with an overwhelming light that leaves no space for shadows. Every hidden thought, every concealed motive, is laid bare for all to see. This is not just a revelation for you, it's a shattering moment for them as well. Their stories can no longer shield them from the reality of their actions. For the individual whose motives are now exposed, this is a profoundly disquieting experience. It's not merely that others now see them for who they truly are, they are forced to confront their own reflection in the harsh light of truth. This exposure strips away the comfortable layers of self-deception and reveals the less flattering aspects of their character, their envy, selfishness, or spite. It's like staring into a mirror that doesn't just reflect their face but their deepest, most hidden desires and intentions. What they see is not the person they've been trying to show the world, but a more troubling, more authentic version of themselves. Observing this revelation can evoke a mix of emotions in you. On one hand, it might feel vindicating to see the truth come to light, especially if you've been on the receiving end of their harmful actions. There's a certain satisfaction in knowing that your suspicions were well-founded. Yet, on the other hand, There's an undeniable discomfort that comes with watching someone's carefully crafted identity crumble. It's unsettling to witness the unraveling of the lies they've told not just to others, but to themselves. This moment of unveiling represents a seismic shift in the dynamics between you and the person whose motives are now clear. The balance of power that they once held, perhaps through manipulation or deceit, is now destabilized. They find themselves exposed, vulnerable in a way they never intended to be. They can no longer control the narrative or twist the facts to suit their own purposes. Their true intentions are now out in the open, and with this exposure comes a profound loss of control. They can no longer dictate how they are perceived, and that realization can be deeply unsettling for them. There's another dimension to this moment, one that delves deeper into the psychological impact of such exposure. It forces the person to confront parts of themselves they've long buried or denied. It's one thing to deceive others, it's something altogether different to lie to oneself. When their true motives are laid bare, they can no longer hide from the uncomfortable truths about their character. They must face the reality that their actions were driven not by noble causes or unfortunate circumstances, but by something far more troubling. This confrontation with the self can lead to two very different outcomes. Some may choose to dig their heels in, clinging even tighter to their defenses, refusing to acknowledge the truth. They might become more combative, more determined to deny what's been revealed. This defensive stance is their way of protecting themselves from the discomfort of facing their darker side. Yet, no matter how much they resist, the truth remains, gnawing at them from within. Others, however, might see this moment of exposure as an opportunity, a chance to reflect, to grow, to change. They might begin to recognize the harm they've caused, not just to others, but to themselves. This moment of clarity, painful as it may be, can be the first step towards true self-awareness. It's not an easy path, acknowledging one's faults never is, but it's a necessary one if they are to move forward in a healthier, more authentic way. The exposure of their true motives, in this sense, can be the catalyst for a profound transformation. As you watch this process unfold, it's important to remember that their journey is theirs alone. The shame, the guilt, the introspection that follows the exposure of their motives, these are not your burdens to bear. You are not responsible for guiding them through their self-discovery or for alleviating their discomfort. Your role is simply to remain grounded in your own truth, to continue being genuine in your actions and interactions, and to ensure that their past behavior does not dictate your future. The exposure of true motives is a powerful and transformative event, for both the person whose intentions are revealed and for those who witness it. It's a moment of stark reality, where the pretense falls away and only the truth remains. It serves as a reminder of the importance of living honestly and authentically, of aligning one's actions with one's values. And it stands as a testament to the resilience of those who have remained true to themselves, even in the face of deception. This moment of truth, while painful, also brings a sense of liberation. It frees everyone involved from the lies that have clouded their interactions, from the false narratives that have distorted reality. It's a moment of clarity, where the air seems cleaner, the light brighter. It's a chance to start anew, to build relationships based on honesty rather than deceit, to move forward with a clear understanding of where everyone stands.